to Synced on Air. I'm your host, Angelique Robb, and today I have a special guest that we met probably a month or so ago, Erin Eregbu-Lomas. Hopefully I said that right, Erin.
Spot on.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show. We're happy to have you. You know, you're in our industry, but you have a lot of experience to unpack on education for our industry and awareness, and excited to introduce you to our audience. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And I just wanted to just hold this up
Oh,
here.
you got it in.
Beautiful April edition. I'm looking forward to May next and then
Awesome.
everything to follow. Thank you so much. I'm excited about this. I have yet to read it, but I'm so deep into this publication. It just got all of the innovation and sustainability tips and inspo, so much inspo. Thank you so much for sending that
You're
my way.
welcome. You're welcome. Well, tell us a little bit about your experience in landscape horticulture.
Absolutely. So I like to call myself a cultural visionary and a land steward. My
Great.
history goes pretty deep. Um, I loved being outdoors. I remember the colors, the smells, all of that, especially in autumn and fall when I was growing up. And so from there, it really sparked interest in going fishing and hiking, making little mud pies in the playgrounds. And as I became a young adult and then into my formative years and beyond, I decided to go to school after I completed a service term for AmeriCorps, the
Oh,
Conservation Corps.
yeah. Oh, great.
And that really sparked interest for me to continue to learn more about prairies, oak savannas, trees, and native plants, perennials, biennials, annuals, all of the above. Why leaves are shaped this way, why are they shaped that way. So I decided to dive into my degree, which was in horticulture, landscape maintenance, and greenhouse operations as a sub. And then I really just kept going from there, Angelique.
Awesome. Well, what do you think about the future of our industry? We are, there's a lot of movements going on right now in our industry and a lot of, separate disciplines. How do you think we can best, explain our industry to the wider public?
That's a great question. In terms of the future of our industry and how do we make that connection, right? How do we bridge the gap and bring more people into STEM, bring more people into
Mm,
hardscapes? We know how incredible our industry is, but
yeah,
a lot of people do not.
I know.
And so I believe that it starts with letting people know how it affects them every single day. Every single thing that we look at started on a piece of land, everything,
Mhm.
because we all live on land. So starting there and just making that on the ground connection, I feel like is where, especially for us, that's where our conversations can start with people who are not in this industry or have no idea how it pertains to them at all. So I would say for me and my role, I really like to encourage people to start stepping outside and just start saying thank you to the water that they pour out of the faucet. Start saying, thank you for the water that like touches my skin every time I shower or I take a bath. Simple things like that. And then I start to prompt questions like, okay, well, do you have a, water filter? Do you have a garden? Have you ever used lemon balm for a headache? Have you ever drank chamomile or lavender when you were struggling with sleep? So, like I said, just starting with those really basic questions, I feel like starts to fortify the bridge that is already there, that incredible leaders such as yourself have already created stability within. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, I do think, for a lot of people, landscaping is more about grass maintenance and grass cutting. There's so much more to our industry. There's so much in design, and you mentioned water. I think water is a key element that connects. We all need water to survive. So do our plants. We've really not integrated that into our thinking about landscaping as much as we should. I think the industry is doing that more and more, but very important for others outside of the industry to understand that too. It's not all about fix it with an underground drain pipe, and shoot it out to the sea. We need, our landscapes need water. We need to incorporate them into how we plan
Yeah.
and manage our land. I like how you mentioned you're a land steward. Again, that means more than just plants. You even mentioned hardscapes. It's really a multifaceted industry, and
Yeah.
lots of considerations for anything we do with the land. Yeah, can you speak to how, sustainability, what it means to you, and what, I believe you're doing some work in Wisconsin locally about sustainability. Do you want to maybe talk a little bit about that?
I would absolutely love to,
Great.
Angelique. I could go on and on, especially being from the Midwest. I can talk for hours. Anyway, yes, so sustainability really, really means so many things that mean the same thing. That's one thing about our industry. I think there's a lot of new phrases, modern phrases, historical phrases that mean the same thing. And
Mhm.
so just creating a bit more basicness to it, I've learned really helps me to have these conversations. So when I think sustainability, I think of systems, I think of structures, I think of individual components that are different, but they're alike and they're all necessary to make it happen
Yeah.
for a long term, hopefully.
Yes.
So that's what I think when I hear sustainability. And then I also think of efficient measures to make it happen. And I think that that efficiency comes from honoring each individual role that goes into the larger system at hand. Now, yes, Wisconsin, that is currently where I am grounded here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I grew up in the Midwest, but my work has really started to elevate and transform as I have continued to talk and make
Oh, good.
these connections. So
Yeah.
I was recently selected as a circle leader for the Sustainable Business Council here in Wisconsin to lead women in sustainability. I will be helping facilitate safe spaces where we can all come together and talk about our challenges, talk about our accomplishments, and really continue to ask one another questions so we can
Mm.
facilitate kind of like a hot spot, a hot seat type of dynamic where we all listen and one person is being supported within our industry, questions they might have, challenges they might have, things that they're looking to inspire to get into. So that's, I would say, the most
Congratulations.
exciting thing as of lately. Thank you so much. I thought it was very interesting. All of us submitted our profile to be a part of this.
Okay.
However, when I was selected as a circle leader, aka guide, I was the only person who put that I was confident and comfortable with leadership. However, a lot of these women are in incredible corporate roles within sustainability and green. And so I'm just so excited to be able to share what I know, share my experience, and see how it can serve them and support them. Because I think we're all very different, right? There's
Well, that
that
adds
component.
that adds to what will come out of this group, doesn't it? If you all come with different perspectives, you can what comes out of it will be even greater and fuller and more powerful.
I'm
So
so excited. I'm definitely going to keep you in the loop and share the tea as it goes on. I can't wait to tell you about it. Yes.
yeah, give us some nuggets of what you guys get up to, and yeah, love to hear more. Well, congratulations on that
Yeah.
role, and
Thank you.
Sounds like, your leadership will be really pivotal to the group, the Sustainable Women Leaders. So great.
Thank you.
Great.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I think there's so much noise all over the place, from the birds to the radio to, mowing lawns, and there's a lot of things that can create a component of one not believing that they're worthy of a role. However, I've learned within our industry, within the green industry, within horticulture, within even just maintaining my hosta, that plants, these birds, all these things, they're not, a tree just stands tall. A plant just like is in the ground, it's rooted. It's not like, oh, am I worthy? It's not doing all that. So, so
Learn
that's
from the plants.
that's what I'm saying. That's the best part of our industry, I think, is that there is so much we can learn from just the earth in general, like, and apply it to every single day.
Well, there aren't many things that you can build that are living. We're using living things to construct with. And it makes me think of, there's a friend of mine here in Louisiana that he's taught me a lot about just, weeds, and I know a weed is just a plant that's growing where you don't want it to. But I love that I've learned from him that, this particular weed comes at this time of year in South Louisiana, and its role is to break up the clay soil, and it does it better than I could do it. So why not let nature, do some of the work for you? And it breaks up the soil so that your future plants that you plant there will actually have more malleable soil to grow in. And, I've just
Mhm.
never thought of things in that way. I've had the traditional keep weeds out, you know, eradicate, pull weeds as soon as you see them, or cut them so that they don't grow as well. But learning from nature is something that I think, we're in a growing industry with living things. Like, could we make things better by listening more to nature? I guess, what can we do differently as an industry, as people on this earth that are living amongst nature, and we need nature. So, how can it help us help ourselves?
Absolutely, Angelique. And I love what you said about really just the polar opposites. Like, I've been there too. Just got to get rid of these weeds so we can, grow these begonias. So we got to get rid of these weeds so we can grow like our food. And there's no room for guilting anybody for going about these land practices the ways that
Yeah.
have historically gone. There's no point in that. The only thing that we
We,
can do
yeah.
is,
Well, I was going to say, we thought we were doing the best thing you
yeah,
always think you're doing the best thing at the time. And I think, we're
exactly.
now learning that, by maybe overusing chemicals, we've hurt the soil health and things like that. But that's new information. So we just have to learn how to embrace it and how to, help our jobs in the future.
Exactly. There's always plenty to do. We will always
Yeah, well,
have things to do in our industry. We will. We will. If we do like you said, let the weeds do some of the heavy lifting, kind of like AI, then I mean, my hands will probably cramp a lot less.
yeah. But you're right. We shouldn't. I didn't mean that in any way criticizing what we've done in the past. But
No, not at all.
I
I
think,
wanted to create a safe space also, just so, to encourage you. Like, there's nothing wrong with how you went about it. It's just
yeah.
we can kind of let the earth do some of the heavy lifting too now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, it's like that when you talk about the plants that you choose, and for, talking about water management, there are, that's a great billboard for native plants. If you have water that's not being soaked into the ground, that's a problem for our drinking water. That's a problem for our future irrigation needs. We need to make sure that we're designing spaces that can soak the water into the ground. Native plants are such a great tool for that. You know, I love turf spaces. I love to sit in the grass with my dog and my kids. If the water isn't soaking in and the grass isn't growing very well, then that's a key
We
bit of
can't.
information to, okay, let's use what we know about native plants having deeper roots that can soak in that rainwater and benefit, generations to come. So using, I think a lot of what you're saying, says to me, we need to learn from nature and apply that to our industry now that we know some of the things that we've done can be counterproductive. Yeah. Is that what, when you think of sustainability, what do you think it means?
Yeah, I would say you summed it up very, very well.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to take your thunder. Yeah, go for it. You explain your
Okay, I'm just gonna
take.
take it back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
And I'm gonna pass it back. But yes, yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's just creating and acknowledging systems that are already on this earth and then incorporating some of that modern innovation and the scientific study to find a sweet spot for whatever region we're on, wherever we are, for whatever piece of land we are on.
Mm,
We don't have to, as humans, do all of the work.
yeah,
We can
yeah.
let nature help. That's sustainability because then, like I said, I won't have tendonitis, as
We have a
often.
hard working industry, huh? Yeah, like we know we
Yeah.
do.
Hey,
But
even
our
with the
bodies
spray
only take so
bottles.
much.
Exactly. I mean, from my hori knife to a weed whacker to even a spray nozzle, like that will do numbers on the hands sometimes.
Yeah,
I can vouch for it from experience. Okay. And going back to what you were mentioning about, runoff and all of that, I had an incredible opportunity to design a median at a large hospital here in Wisconsin when I worked as an account manager for a large corporation where I managed, like at 29, a $1 million portfolio
yeah.
within a year. I was like, oh, okay, I can do this.
That's
Anyways,
awesome. Yes.
they had this huge parking lot and they had this really fat, juicy median in the middle. And it was interesting because I felt almost like a surgeon. There was a previous horticulturist that went in there, but they planted like all the wrong sizes to go into the median. So it all was just overgrown, looking
Okay.
just, counterproductive. And so my point of contact asked me to redesign it so that it could work efficiently and then also have minimal maintenance.
Yeah. There's never no maintenance. Yeah. Good
Yes,
point.
a little less maintenance. Yes, absolutely. But that was a really exciting opportunity for me. I found out that milkweed has the roots can go down to like 70 feet of a milkweed plant. I did not know that. They go
Wow.
deep into the ground, and that is why they are incredible agents to us in the green industry when it comes to stormwater management and mitigating runoff so we can enjoy our lawns, with our loved ones
Yep.
much more. So, yes, in summary, from our stormwater, absolutely is sexy.
You have read a bit.
Cheers to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Well, and I believe you have some other news to share with us about another nomination.
I do, Angelique. Thank you for bringing that up. I was recently announced as an official contestant for the Miss Diaspora Nigeria USA pageant. Uh,
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And I'm really just hoping that through this platform of MD and U, I just summarize it. Nigerians have very long names for things. going to say MDNU. Through the platform, I am looking to amplify the voices of us green industry leaders, and really, like I said, continue to fortify that bridge and create awareness, get people interested in growing their own food, get people
Mm.
interested in using more mulch. It's everywhere. And so I have the opportunity to do that not only on the ground here in the United States, like I've already been doing, but also in Nigeria. And it's an incredible opportunity. It's not about the glitz and the glam for me. I'm an outdoors girl, so that'll be a fun component. But what's really exciting for me, Angelique, as an official contestant, is that I can really contribute to helping people, especially in Nigeria, experience less food insecurity. I think
Mhm.
1 in 4 Nigerian households experience food insecurity, and that's according to the United Nations. That's a
Oh,
lot.
wow. That is
That's
a
a
lot.
lot of people.
Yeah.
And a misconception is that, well, we need all this big machinery to do it. And that is helpful. It does help mitigate burnout, but there are still things we can do at home to mitigate the food insecurity by growing okra, spinach.
Yeah.
There are accessible ways to contribute to making that number of the food insecurity go down. We can
Yeah. Well,
do that.
and it's coaching and teaching and educating. And I think, like you said, having a voice that you're going to get a platform by being a contestant to speak to that, and what you know from the horticulture industry. So that's very powerful and will go a long way to, bringing the public with us on the journey of how
Yeah.
important our industry is to the whole world. Avenue to do that. And you said that it's what you're going to speak about is very different from the other contestants,
Yes,
so
it
again,
is.
yeah, great, because it should be, that's your background and what you're passionate about, so go for it.
Thank you
And
for acknowledging.
yeah, keep keep the talk up, and yeah, the importance of our industry, for everybody's sake. Our earth feeds us and we need to learn how to work with her.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I 100% agree. And your acknowledgement means so much to me, especially being a woman in this industry. Um, it can feel like there's not a lot of us, but there are. And actually, a lot of men welcome us too. And I
Mhm.
think that's something you and I can relate on. So, yes, each contestant is responsible for a pet project. And so, mine is called Rooted Well, and it's a regenerative wellness initiative where I will host a 1 day event in Nigeria. And within that, I would like to provide 100 families pretty much a starter kit. So, seeds, seedlings, a link to digital education on how to grow their food in their region. And then we'll have a big celebration.
That is great.
Thank you.
Well,
So
you
I'm
have to
always
give us
looking.
give us some information on the event that you're going to hold, and we can, write an article about it and have it on our website and follow up with
Beautiful.
you afterwards. So when will this be?
Yes. So I am going to make Rooted Well my pet project happen regardless. I have committed to that with or without the crown. This
Okay.
needs to happen. So I am always seeking partnerships, sponsorships, and really strategic partners that want to make this huge impact within our industry. So whether that is, through donating gloves or, trowels, hori seeds, that works. We have a very secure way of getting resources to Nigeria. I have a lot of family there. So there is that peace of mind. The actual
Mhm.
pageant itself is in August, the 31st of August in Chicago.
Okay,
So
great.
I will share more information about that for tickets if you want
Sounds
to attend.
good.
And yeah, I would like to certainly make Rooted Well happen before the end of 2026. So my idea is that, let's say that I did walk with the crown on my head August 31st, then I would use my there's, a prize. I would use that prize money to really get me on the ground experience in Nigeria. It would actually be my first time going, even though I have a lot of family and land there already.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yes,
That's
yeah,
amazing. Wow,
I'm
quite a
really excited.
monumental trip. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes, I've noticed that there's a lot of people, and there's some opportunity. There's actually a lot of opportunity, but there's not a lot of people, especially women, who are talking about this specific industry. So that's
Okay.
really where I've helped bridge that gap. And then I believe the MD&U, Miss Diaspora Nigeria USA's goal this year is to feed 50,000 people before the end of 2025.
Wow.
And we are well on the route. I think $100 feeds 300 people. That's like spinach, rice, and a protein. It goes far. So, yes, I'm so excited to really represent the green industry and the landscape and design industry. It is a great honor. And yes, please stay tuned. And I would love to keep having talks like this just so we can keep it going. This is
Yes.
important. These
Yes.
conversations are so important.
Yes. Well, and yeah, I'm really, gosh, I didn't know how involved it was that you're even doing a project Rooted Well. Sounds like an amazing initiative. Yeah, we'll maybe talk offline who I can connect you with to, see if we can build some bridges to, yeah, to get that going. So
Absolutely.
great.
Absolutely.
Well,
Whew.
Erin, thank you so much for joining us today. What we'll have to follow up in a couple months, see how things are going for your contest, your leadership program, all this stuff. Yeah. Thanks for leading the way and lovely to connect with you. And we'll talk more about all these topics next time.
Absolutely. I'm sweating, so this has been
Oh,
amazing. Soon.
talk soon. Thanks, Erin. Thanks for coming on the show.